Hey babes, my name is Chasity. Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today it's just gonna be me by myself. That's okay though. You may see some solo videos coming your way just because we want to do some more content and talk about a few things. So today I am very excited to be doing a book babble on a book that I'm really very passionate about that Hannah has not read. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Okay, so everyone knows that I'm a huge fan of Sarah. Not only that I'm a fan of Sarah, but that I'm also a huge fan of the series. I have spoken about the other books on the channel. You guys know this if you've watched. A Court of Thorns and Roses is one of my favorite series ever. A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the series, is my favorite book to date. So, getting this one, I gotta tell you, first of all, she a thick girl. She very thick. I was nervous. I was very nervous because if you guys have read the series, which, spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book yet or the series, you need to exit out of this video immediately because I promise you, you want to read the series and you want to go in blind. So, yeah, spoilers are going to be present here. I'm going to talk about a lot of things that happen that you do not want to know before you go into it. So I was really nervous because at the end of Frost and Starlight, of course, we got like a nice little wrap up with Farah and Rhys. But we already knew this was going to be Nesta's story, and I was not a big fan of Nesta to begin with. I could see some of the reasonings for some of her behavior, and then there was other behavior that I just could not justify. She was an interesting character, but I was like, why is she like this? You know, she annoyed me. Not to the point where I like hated her, because I didn't really have any specific feelings towards her. I just was like, why is she like that? I was really nervous. I was really nervous that I was going to hate this book because it's Nesta's story. However, nobody is more surprised on my feelings for this story than me, because I loved this book and everything about it. I sobbed. I ugly cried towards the end of this book. Nesta's redemption arc is just not only so well done and amazing, but so dynamic. We get new characters in this book, Gwyn and Emery. We find out more things about Vasa, and we're going into the human queens, all these different dynamics that barely were like registering on my mind when I went into this. And I am just blown away by how well she did this. I am a huge Nesta fan now, like huge. I think she's amazing. I think her redemption arc was one of the best I've seen in a long time. Getting inside of her head really helped me be able to relate to this character. Like, everyone pretty much thinks Nesta's like trash. She's this awful human being that, like, well, she's not human anymore, but she's this awful being that nobody likes, and, you know, she pushes everybody away, and nobody really understands why she does that. And when you get inside her head, you can see, like, she hates herself to begin with, so she pushes people away because she doesn't feel like she deserves to be loved. She doesn't deserve to be loved. She doesn't deserve any of this. So watching her character go through that was just so eye-opening. It was like, oh, she's not doing all these things just to make people miserable. She's doing them because she thinks she deserves to be miserable. It really broke my heart, and I really felt for her. I think her connection to the new characters and us finding out about Emery and Gwyn and all the training with Cassian and Az. Oh, let me tell you, Az. If we don't get an Az book, I'm gonna riot, okay? But that's besides the point. I really just loved it. I loved so much of it. And I want to know more about Emery. I want to know more about Gwyn. I want to know how Vasta ties into this. And for the love of all that is holy, I need some more of the miniature Pegasus. Maybe even a giant Pegasus. Like, come on now. I need this in my life. So, Sarah, if you ever watch this, like, that's just my one request. Okay. But, getting back to the story, I feel for Cassian. You know, he is just, I said this in my review of the book, but he is definitely just chef's kiss. Like, she pushes him to the limit all the time, and he just keeps reaching out that hand, just keeps reaching it out. So the dynamic between Amren and Nesta really changed in this book, and it had me very intrigued. Like, what the hell did Nesta do to, like, push away Amren? Amren, who, like, is never affected. Like, she doesn't bristle at all. And Nesta did something to piss her off, where she's got nothing. That was one of the best scenes for me, was when she storms into Amren's house and is just going haywire. That was just like, wow, okay, we're getting somewhere. Also, I do have to touch on the fact that I was also concerned with the ending with Rhys and Feyre, because they had that whole conversation about waiting so they could spend time together and enjoy each other, and then it was, you know, like, let's try for a baby. And I was like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, because I kind of just wanted it to be them, and they did, you know, get to enjoy each other, because they deserve it. After all the hell that they have both been through, they deserve to be happy and be able to enjoy being with each other, having their mate. So I was really nervous. I had a feeling that a pregnancy was coming in this book, and I was nervous about it. I was like, am I gonna hate this? I didn't. I did not. I actually really loved it. I think the idea of the babe was really amazing. I do feel like it was a little rushed towards the ending, with Feyre, like, bleeding out. I felt like that probably could have been timed a little bit better. Maybe, you know, have Nesta breathe for a moment before this. But, I mean, it worked. I would have preferred a little bit more time with Nesta and the girls. So I do feel like the ending was a little bit rushed, but I still loved it. I do love that Rhys had that shield on Feyre the entire time, and that dynamic. I have to tell you, one of my favorite parts at the beginning was when they sat her down, and it was like an intervention, and Rhys, gotta say, it was nice to see the High Lord a little angry. I enjoyed that scene a lot. God, just the ideas behind this. I need to know more about what's going on in the Spring Court, even though I hate Tamlin's guts. I gotta tell you guys, I don't want a Tamlin redemption story, so that's not something that's on my radar, but I would like to know what's gonna happen in the Spring Court, because the Spring Court is very weak right now, and, you know, there's all this stuff with Eris, and I'm so excited to find out where she's going with this. I also think it was nice. I was a little concerned that it was just going to be like everybody in this neat little bow, and Az and Elaine and Cassian and Nesta, and then Feyre and Rhys. I was so worried that it was just going to be too perfect. I'm not anymore. I think she's got this. Also, I will bring up the fact that in the Books A Million exclusive edition, the additional scene with Azriel, a lot of people have talked about how they didn't understand where Rhys was coming from and why he was so mean about that. I don't agree. I think Rhys was being not only just like a big brother, but a High Lord. If Az were to travel down that road with Elaine, by law, Lucien would have every right to attack Cass. And of course Rhys doesn't want that to happen. He can't protect him from that. That's legally Lucien's right to defend his mate and to protect what is his, whether or not she accepts the bond. So I think Rhys was coming from a High Lord perspective and a brother perspective of like, you can't do this because I can't protect you if you do. So I did not agree with people saying that he was being mean and overbearing. I think he was doing what he needed out of necessity, which is something Rhys has always done. Rhys has always protected his people over everything else, no matter what the consequence to himself was. So that's something that I just don't agree with. I do love the extra scene in the Barnes & Noble edition as well. Of course, I had to have that one because it was Rhys and Feyre. And we know I'm just a sucker for anything that involves them. Even if it's not necessary, I need it. I actually have a Rhysand candle burning right now because I have a problem with being addicted to the series. And I am not seeking help. Nor do I plan on it. Overall, I just can't get over how amazing it was. How much I related to Nesta. Like, this was a character that I saw nothing in common with in the entire series. I was like, I just don't understand her. I don't understand why she's being like this. I don't understand. And now I'm like, damn, get it, queen. Yes, you're right. Fight for that shit. I gotta tell you, I need more of Valkyries. I need more Valkyries. I'm so fucking stoked for this. I just can't wait. Also, Nesta to be just in control of the mask, and she's just such a powerful character. I mean, Farrah kind of blew them away with when she was turned, what she could do, and the fact that she got like a little bit of every High Lord's powers. But then Nesta's was totally different. She's something that's completely different. The power and the fact that people fear her. You know, she points her finger at them and it's unnerving because nobody knows what she's capable of. And I just think that's so amazing. I also think her healing process was perfect. Like, her and Cassian, like, he gave her space when she needed it. He pushed her when she needed it. Like, it was so good. Just so good. I don't really know. I've got so many other things that I could probably go on about, but I just can't remember any of them. I do know that I am obsessed. I finished this book and then I started the audiobook right away because I needed more of it. And I started back on #1 with the audiobooks yesterday because I need to read it again. Even though I'm reading 1,000 other things, I need it. And here's the thing, guys. Hannah is a huge rereader. I'm not. I reread my favorites, like my absolute favorites. Sometimes I'll reread to see, you know, if when I get older I have a different perspective or if I love it still as much. But most of the time I'm not a huge rereader. I've read the book. I know how I feel. I move on. You know, I like discovering new things. This series is one that I can just continue. Like, I listen to it over and over and over. I don't get sick of it. It's one of my only ones. So that should tell you something. Also, again, Sarah, if you watch this, I'm gonna need you to like really bust out this new book because I'm gonna need it because I read this one way too fucking fast. I'm sorry. Not sorry. I think that's it for me today. I may add some extra content in here if I think of anything else that I didn't touch on, because I'm sure there's more that I didn't touch on. Comment down below. Give me all your takes, all your theories, everything you want to see in the next book, everything you loved about this book, everything you hated about this book. Please just tell me all of it, because I will never get sick of talking about this series. So comment down below, make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when we post. Thanks guys, we'll see you next time.